Hi guys, so I guess this is it. This is my first video on my channel and today I have the new to Booktube tag. So this tag was originally created by Trina at Between Chapters and I'm really grateful to her to have created this tag because the questions are really cool, I find them really nice, and I can remember that she was saying that she actually created it because she didn't like the questions of the Booktube newbie tag so much. So I kind of felt the same way, and that's why thanks a lot, and let's go into the questions. So the first question is, where are you joining us from? So my name is Pauline and I'm originally from France, more specifically a region called Alsace that's just at the border to Germany, and I am currently living in Germany. Second question, how old are you? I'm 26. Question 3, why did you join Booktube? I was watching Booktube for quite a long time now, I would say almost 2 years. Never really dared to do more than writing comments on videos, as I was kind of finding my place within the community, finding my favorite booktubers. I kind of realized that there is still some niches of literature or things like that that aren't really covered, and that maybe people still want to talk about. And so I'm kind of starting this channel because I want to maybe bring my perspective to things. I want, for example, to talk also a bit about French literature, also German literature, and maybe also just a few other things that I find really cool. My second biggest hobby, I would say, is board games, so I was thinking of also maybe bringing that in. So basically I just want to share what I like and make people enthusiastic about things, and maybe you'll find some nice recommendations. Question number 4. What is the meaning behind the name of your channel? I admit I wasn't thinking so hard about how to name my channel. Since my early childhood I was a big fan of the Chronicles of Narnia. I read them when I was a kid, first in French, and then as soon as I knew enough English I read them in English. I was also one of these kids that really liked to have all these maps in these fantasy books, and it just made the world just more real. So I love this, and I used to stare at the map of Narnia for hours, and I found this little spot that I really liked, and it's called the Dancing Lawn, and it's basically a little clearing in a wood where people in Narnia used to gather for like feasts or like parties, and for me it was just like some kind of magical place, and it was like my little spot on the map, and this is kind of what I want this channel to be, like kind of my little spot on YouTube where I can just find people that like the same things as me and we can talk about it. So that's where it comes from. So question number 5 is, what types of books do you read? So I primarily read literary fiction, so English literary fiction, but also classics and French and German classics, and I'm a real big fan of mystery. These are more or less the genres that I read the most, but I do like a bit of sci-fi also and some fantasy, but let's say more rarely. Question number 6 is, what are some of your favorite authors? So for literary fiction, some of my highlights at the moment are Margaret Atwood and Colm Tóibín. For mystery, my all-time favorite author is Agatha Christie. I just love her. I've been loving her since my mom introduced me to her books, and she's amazing, as well as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. For the French classics that I read, some of my favorites are Charles Baudelaire for poetry and Victor Hugo for poetry and novels. Question number 7 is, what is the last book that you read? And that is this collection of short stories by Margaret Atwood called Mattress. So these stories have kind of a common theme, and it's all about aging, how you can deal with getting older, maybe regrets that people have as they get older, or things that people still need to take care of as they get older before they die. And I thought this was really fascinating. For me, it was kind of eye-opening about how you actually feel getting older. So I am getting older obviously every day, but how it is to, you know, being in a retirement home, or being on your own, or having to deal with the death of somebody that you've lived with for, I don't know, 40, 50 years. All these things are in there, and it really packs a punch. Some of these stories were like really hitting me in the face, and I think I'm going to think about these stories for still some time. And I also really want to reread them when I'm a bit older, just to see if my perspective changed. Question number 8 is, what are you currently reading? So I usually read more than one book at the same time. I just like to have the variance and being able to, you know, pick anything that I feel like reading at the moment. But incidentally, right now I just started this one book, and it's The Heart's Invisible Furies by Boyne. So far I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm about 70 pages in, and I feel like this is one I'm gonna love. It plays in Ireland, and it starts at the beginning of the 1950s, more or less, and it's primarily about this man, Cyril, who lives in Dublin and has been adopted. It's going to be about how he deals with his past, just finding himself and coming to terms with his sexuality. And I think it's going to tell a lot about Ireland, the country, the culture, and I think for all these reasons I'm really going to like it. So question number 9 is, what do you use for bookmarks? And I'm quite a bit tame in that respect, because I just use bookmarks. And I have a few, let's say like a small collection. You can see them here, or I'll show you a picture of it. I collect them very specifically, and I'm this kind of person that also makes them match to the book. So yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, but I like it. Some of these gems are from Dunn. I can link her information down below. She's a wonderful artist. I love her work, and that's why I ordered some of her bookmarks. Question number 10 is, show us your current TBR pile. I'm very moody in my reads, so whenever I finish the book I just walk to my shelf and get a book. But how I do things is that I have 2 shelves, and one shelf is for books that I haven't read, so I can just go over to that shelf and know, okay, all of these are not read, and I can pick from there. And it's actually the shelf behind me, so it's this shelf and the shelf up there. So question number 11 is like a small series of short questions, so I'm gonna answer them also in a short way. The first one is hardback or paperback, and I'm a big paperback fan. They're so much lighter and more flexible, and I can take them anywhere, and anytime I read a hardback I actually just read it at home because I don't like to have it with me on the go. So yeah, definitely paperback. Then we have physical books or ebooks. So I love physical books. I just like the feeling of having them in my hands when I'm reading them. I'm trying to buy some things in ebooks. I try to read classics on my ebooks, but I'm really not good at it. I bought this Kindle like a year ago or something. I even bought this cover that looks like a book to just make me want to pick it up more, but it doesn't work. So definitely physical books. And the last one is owning or borrowing books. So I definitely like to own books, especially some that I really like and I want to have on my shelf and keep them, but occasionally I do like borrowing books from people. One of my friends that also reads a lot, and my mom or my sister, but that's about it. Question number 12 is, what books got you into reading? And for me, it was definitely the Nancy Drew books. So I read them in French, and I read a lot of them in French. I love these books. I used to read them over and over again. At my parents' house, I have like a shelf. I don't know how many there are, probably like 40 or something like this. And they were so great. They're detective stories, of course, and they're about this kick-ass girl detective crew. There are 3 girls, and they're kind of solving crime and everything, and it was like one of my first big loves, where I really got into reading. And after that I got introduced to mystery and crime novels, and also to English classics. Question number 13 is, how did you discover Booktube? So it was like about 2 years ago. I was reading the Rivers of London series from Ben Aaronovitch. I just felt like going to YouTube and just searching the name of the book and seeing if there might be a video about it. It was completely random. I didn't know Booktube even existed. I found this review from Mercedes over at Mercy's Bookish Musings, and then I just clicked over and on to the next video, and I just found all these videos about books, and this is how I got introduced to it. Question 14 is, what challenges do you think you will face with this channel? I feel like challenge number 1 will probably be how to do my time management. I am currently a 3rd year PhD student in biochemistry, and so yeah, there's a lot of work. So I'm kind of figuring out a way to work it around my work schedule, but yeah, this will probably be like the organizational challenge. The second challenge would probably be just for me to kind of overcome my shyness and be able to talk about the things I want to talk about in a more fluent way. So English is not my mother tongue. I use it every day at work, but it's still different to talk about non-scientific things. But I think I will also probably improve, and anyway, it's gonna be a lot of fun. The last question of the tag is, where else can we find you? And I will link in the description my Goodreads and my Instagram, and you can find me there. Anyway, if you've watched until here, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hearing me rambling about. I hope I was clear and cohesive. I'm really excited about this first video. I was really scared about it, and I hope you liked listening to my answers of the tag. And of course, chat to me in the comments below. I would love to hear anything you have to say to me. Tell me what you're reading, tell me what you're excited about, and I hope that you stick around. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!